Tonight I return to the place where silence feels like a companion, and the sand knows the weight of every emotion I ever buried in it. The moon hung low, soft as a prayer, casting pale light on paths I once walked with a trembling heart. I traced my old footsteps, some still visible, some erased by time, and I realized something quietly profound. The desert forgets nothing, not the words whispered into its wind, not the promises carried across its dunes, not the tears that fell quietly in the shelter of its solitude. Oh, you, whose presence once shaped the rhythm of my days, tonight the memories returned, not with sharpness, not with ache, but with the tenderness of a story that has learned how to rest. There was a moment when the wind shifted, brushing against my face like a familiar touch, gentle, unhurried, recognizable. And for a heartbeat, I felt the echo of a time when my world was simpler, when your name carried warmth instead of distance. But the wind had changed, and so had I. I told the desert, I am not searching anymore. The dunes shimmered softly, as though they approved of my clarity. For the first time, my heart felt aligned with the quiet around me. No longing pulling backward, no regret weighing forward, only presence, only peace. Some journeys end, not with closure, but with understanding, and perhaps that is the kind of ending we were destined for, a gentle fading rather than a sudden stop, a truth accepted rather than a wound carried. Oh, beloved of a chapter, I no longer fear revisiting. Your memory stands beside me now, like a calm shadow, one that neither haunts nor demands. It exists simply as part of the person I have become, a reminder of the light I once held, and the strength I learned to keep. Tonight the stars glimmered, like scattered verses of fate. I looked at them and finally understood that not every bond is meant to stretch across a lifetime. Some are meant to shape a moment, to shift a soul, to redirect a path. And you did. I placed my hand on the cool sand and whispered a quiet blessing, not for us, not for what was, but for what it made me, a heart that can feel deeply without breaking, a spirit that can let go without losing itself, a soul that can love silently without needing to hold on. The night grew still, embracing me like an old friend, and I walked onward, leaving new footsteps behind, footsteps lighter than they have ever been, for this truth finally arrived. With the softness of dawn, when peace enters a heart, it rewrites the story, without erasing the memories, and so I continue, not toward you, not away from you, but beyond you, into the horizon that awaits. Tonight the sky feels wider than ever, as if it stretched itself to make room for the weight of my thoughts. I sit beneath it quietly, letting the stars speak their old language, a language older than longing, older than love, older even than the desert itself. I told the night, I have walked far. I have carried memories like water across endless dunes. I have held on, and I have let go. The night listened, unmoving, unjudging, as though it already knew every word before I spoke it. Oh, you who once lived in the most delicate corners of my soul, tonight something shifted, not sharply, not suddenly, but like a tide changing direction after 1,000 quiet pulls. I felt a soft balance return to me, a lightness I had not felt in years. The desert wind approached slowly, as though careful not to disturb the fragile peace blooming inside me. It circled once, tugging at my thoughts, then whispered, healing is not forgetting, it is choosing to remember. Without hurting, those words sank into me, like rain into thirsty sand. I realized then that your chapter in my life was not a wound. It was a doorway. Through knowing you, I learned to know myself. Through losing you, I learned how to hold the world with steadier hands. Some souls arrive, not to stay forever, but to awaken a part of us. We would never meet alone. You were that awakening, gentle, brief, but eternal in its impact. Tonight I looked at the horizon and felt no pull from the past. No ache, no echo demanding attention. Just a quiet gratitude for the way everything unfolded, for the beauty hidden, even in the goodbye. O beloved of a time, carved in moonlight and dust, know this truth. I no longer search for your shadow in the spaces between my breaths. I no longer wait for your voice in the stillness of dawn. But your memory remains, not as a weight, but as a soft lantern, guiding me toward the person I am becoming. I closed my eyes and let the wind braid its fingers through my thoughts. It carried something away, something old, something heavy, and left behind a calmness that felt like a blessing. The moon shifted, the dunes breathed, and the night learned my heart in all its quiet transformations. And as I rose to leave, a gentle realization settled inside me. We do not move on from people. We grow into the person we were meant to be because of them. Tonight I walked deeper into the desert than I have in many moons. The sky above me stretched wide, a vast canvas brushed with silver light, and the air held a quiet that felt almost sacred. The dunes rose and fell like ancient breaths, and each step I took carried the weight of every step I had taken before. Yet this time, there was a gentleness within me, a softness that had been missing for far too long. Oh, you, whose memory once echoed through every corner of my being. Tonight I felt the distance between us transform. It no longer felt like an absence. It felt like space. Space for me to grow, to breathe, to become. The desert wind approached slowly, dragging thin ribbons of sand behind it. It circled around me with a familiarity I couldn't deny, as if recognizing a traveler who had finally learned the language of solitude. What changed? I asked the quiet horizon. The horizon did not answer, but the truth rose from inside me, like a dawn that had waited too long to break. I have stopped seeking closure from the past. I have stopped asking memories to return answers that were never meant for me. And in that surrender, a new freedom was born. Oh, beloved of a moment that shaped a lifetime. You once felt like a destination, but now I see you for what you truly were. A turning point, a gentle storm, a passing star that illuminated a path I needed to walk alone. The moon hung low, soft and humble, as if listening to the quiet shift inside my heart, and I finally whispered the words I once feared. I am no longer waiting for you. They did not hurt. They did not tremble. They fell from my lips like truth, clean, clear, complete. Some stories stay unfinished because they were never meant to bind us, only to guide us, only to awaken something deeper than longing. And you awakened it. You awakened me. Tonight the stars seemed nearer, brighter, almost proud, as though they witnessed the moment my soul shed its final shadow. Oh, you, who once held a map to the most tender part of my heart, know this: you live inside me still, but in a way that brings peace, not ache, light, not weight, gratitude, not grief. I turned to leave, my footprints forming a soft trail behind me, and with every step, I felt something rise, a calm strength, born from all the nights I thought I would never heal. The desert watched silently, as if acknowledging the quiet transformation. And as I walked into the vast openness, I realized a truth. That felt like a blessing. Healing is not moving on. Healing is moving forward, with a heart wiser than the one that was broken. Tonight, under a sky full of patient stars, my soul finally understood that. Tonight, the desert felt different. Not heavier, not quieter, just wiser, as if it had been waiting for me to return with a heart that finally understood what the journey was trying to teach. I stood where the dunes curved, like sleeping waves, and I felt a strange calm rising inside me. Not the calm of forgetting, not the calm of distance, but the calm of acceptance. Soft as dawn, true as faith, oh you, who once carried a piece of my soul. Without ever asking, I realized something tonight. It was never you I was chasing. It was a version of myself that I believed only existed in your presence. But the desert, in all its ancient wisdom, showed me otherwise. The wind moved gently, lifting a veil of sand from the surface of the dune, revealing fresh lines, new shapes, a reminder that even the land recreates itself without apology. I asked the silence, "Is this what healing looks like?" The silence answered, in the way it always does, not with words, but with truth. I no longer searched for your voice in the wind. I no longer waited for your shadow to appear in the folds of my memory. Yet you remained, not as a longing, not as a wound, but as a gentle chapter that taught me how to see myself through softer eyes. Some souls do not leave marks, they leave directions. And you were one of them, a compass crafted from emotion, guiding me toward a horizon I didn't know belonged to me. Tonight I walked further than I ever have before. Not because I was running, not because I was escaping, but because my heart finally knew how to walk without leaning on the past. The stars glittered above me, bright as blessings, and I whispered to them, "I release what once held me." They flickered back, not in farewell, but in quiet celebration. Oh, beloved of a distant time, do you know what it means to grow beyond a memory? It means embracing the beauty of what it gave you without carrying the weight of what it could not become. It means seeing your story as more than a moment, more than a heartbreak, more than a lesson. It becomes part of your soul's fabric, woven gently, without resistance. Tonight I felt the shift, a curtain lifting, a new breath entering, a new chapter beginning. And as I walked away from the dune, light-footed, unburdened, I understood a truth that took me years to find. The heart does not heal by forgetting. It heals by remembering and growing anyway. And under that vast, silent sky, with the scent of sand and night around me, I whispered my final blessing.